Hi Flosstube, I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle. It is January 2nd, 2019, and the holidays are over, which I am much happier about that than I should be. We had a health scare in our family in late November, and it wasn't until December 14th that we got some MRI results that told us that it wasn't the end of life as we know it. So I got a late start on Christmas, and I never got into the spirit, and if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm never in the spirit anyway, so I'm excited about starting a new year and the holidays being over and happy things. So I have been watching Michelle Bendy. I watched her 2-hour video this morning on all of her new starts and the project she's carrying into 2019. I've got 4 projects, if we're only counting cross stitch, that I'm carrying into 2019. I have a Little Girl's Fancy, which I started, I think, January 1st of last year. And I could have had this done, but I decided to stitch on other things and don't feel guilty about it. I will get it done this year, I hope. If I don't, I won't feel guilty about it. Little Girl with Cosmos, I think I started her last spring, and I thought I was going to have her done by the end of this year. I got almost all the dress done, and I just need some grass and stuff in her socks, but December was not cooperative. I have got All Is Calm, which I'm stitching for the Dimension Sal, which I'm doing with Amy of Amy DeVille. I love this. I'm having all kinds of fun with this, but I put it aside because I thought I could finish Little Girl with Cosmos, and I cannot put down my Hedgehogs. When I bought this kit at Hobby Lobby on clearance, I thought it was adorable. I did not expect to ever finish it. It was going to be one of those things that went into my stash that I might get around to at some point. And then I saw the Hedgehog Sal, and I have been stitching on it. I was up at 5 this morning and did 2 hours of stitching in poor light because my old farmhouse doesn't have great lighting. And the only reason I finally did stop was that I knew I was going to wind up straining my eyes and regretting it if I didn't stop. So those are my 4 projects I am starting the year with. I'm hoping to start some new things soon, but haven't really. I'm not planning out my stitching for the year. That's not how I think or how I do things. I could make plans, but I wouldn't keep up with them. I would change my mind. I am still working on the lace shawl that I showed you last time. I don't know if you can see the lace there. It is the most complicated shawl I've knit in a while, and I'm actually getting to the point where there's a rhythm to it. I still have to look at the chart for every single row, but there's a rhythm. I don't know how to explain it if you're not lace knitting. There's a rhythm, and it's not making me as crazy as it was, and I'm making faster progress, but the rows get longer, and each has more and more stitches, and then it takes longer, and probably about the time I'm through my 7th ball of yarn, I'll have the pattern memorized. I do want to start another simple shawl for watching TV with the family and being in the room with other people, but I'm not there yet. And I also have a new pair of socks on my needles. These had a mishap before they were even cast on. When I posted a few days ago to Stitcher's Coven that my 18-year-old son had dumped a bottle of Elmer's glue on 2 skeins of sock yarn, I probably should have clarified that it was an accident. The poor kid didn't do it on purpose. He felt terrible, and it was fairly late at night when it happened. The yarn was still in its nice, pretty skeins from the store because, of course, it's brand new yarn. And so I wound up washing the skeins the way they were from the store and then skeining it so it could dry and washing it again to make sure that I had got out all of the glue and hanging it in front of the heater, and now this has to be rolled back into a ball. He felt so bad, and he would have done all of that for me except wool stretches when it's wet, and I don't know that he understands that well enough that he could have done it without stretching the wool, which would have meant that I could knit a pair of socks and then wash them. The wool would go back to its relaxed state, and then my socks wouldn't fit. And, you know, it's just way too complicated and way too much work for making slime with glow-in-the-dark Elmer's glue that I got for a Christmas stocking for one of his younger brothers. Whoever at Elmer's decided that they needed to put a safety stopper in the glue to maybe keep it from spilling. I don't like that idea. Please don't do that. I want to thank Christine at Stitch All the Things for being a wonderful influence on me. I had given myself permission to order 3 charts before I went no-buy at the beginning of the year. And life got busy and I didn't do it. And then this morning I was looking on Facebook and found a Dimensions kit that just is everything I adore about the Dimensions kits. And I looked on Amazon and it is super cheap, and I have a gift card, and I could buy the kit and those 3 Etsy charts that I'd planned to buy, and it wouldn't hurt the budget and it would be fine. The problem is that yes, I can buy that kit and those 3 patterns, but 2 days from now, there will be something else that I love just as much. So, after watching Christine talk about her videos and talk about not buying so much, I kind of had a revelation, and I'd had this before, that just because I gave myself permission to buy a thing doesn't mean that I have to follow through on driving to the store or putting my credit card into the website and getting the thing. So I think I'm going to wait on the Etsy patterns until I get some finishes done. And I'm thinking about the kit because those kits go away and then you can't find them. So I don't know what my decision is going to be on that one. But I want to thank Christine for making me stop and think and pay attention to what I'm doing and try to make good decisions. The other thing I want to thank Christine for, in one of her videos, one of her very first videos, I think, she posted about these project bags. I don't know if these are the exact ones that Christine listed on her video or not, but I finally broke down and bought some, and I am really happy with these. They're just transparent enough that I can see what's inside, and it's a good size. This has got the picture and chart and the threads of the hedgehogs, and if I take them off the Q-snaps, I can put the fabric in here too. And I'm going to use them for kitting up some of my smaller projects that I want to get done. So thank you, Christine. I appreciate that. Christmas haul. My daughter bought me a shirt, which I've tried to explain this to my son, and if you don't sew with a sewing machine, it won't make sense, but it shows how much my daughter knows me, and I love it. And one of the other things I got for Christmas, crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. I had been reading about on Facebook about the CXC floss and wanting to try it. I'm not picky. Most of the things I'm stitching right now are old thrift store kits. I know the floss in them is not as good as DMC. It's old floss. It's not the greatest floss, and I do just fine with it. So I started wondering, how much worse can the CXC floss be than what's in these kits I'm stitching with? Not all of my kits. I use DMC. I love the floss in the Riolis kits. But I wanted to try it, and so I put it on my Christmas list, and I got a box for Christmas. It has 447 colors. I haven't decided. I'm going to stitch with it. I'm anxious to play with it. I am not going to bobbinate all of it because I hate the phrase "who has time for that," but I'm not spending the time on that. No. I'm happy. I'm excited. was off of Amazon, so it worked out to 11 cents a skein instead of the 8 cents a skein they say you can get on AliExpress. But with the price of DMC going up and up and up, I'm anxious to play with this and see if maybe it might be an option. And I also got some kits for Christmas, but I'm going to film those lying flat so that we don't get to play with all the fun glare. What was making my heart go pitty-pat this Christmas were the Riolis cross-stitch kits, which I love for their details and that wool acrylic blend thread that I keep gushing about. And I don't need to justify this to you guys, do I? You guys understand why we all feel the need to stitch everything just because it is there and it is gorgeous. And I love these ladies on the Simplicity kit remind me of vintage Barbie dolls. Vintage Barbie dolls are one of those things that just absolutely makes my heart go pitty-pat. Along with lighthouses, I don't know how many lighthouse pictures I have in my stash. I know I've got a bunch, and I want to stitch them all. And this is different than the others because it's kind of a springy, gentle lighthouse without any crashing waves or dark storminess. So it's different. I needed a different one. And it's a petite, so it'll stitch up without taking a huge, huge chunk of my life. When I was doing my year-end totals of my projects, which is something that I enjoy doing every year because it gives me a chance to look back and see if I've been productive or not, I got a lot done this year. I did 15 shawls, 14 pairs of socks, or honestly that might be 15 pairs of socks and 14 shawls. I don't have my notes here with me. It's one or the other. I did a bunch of cross-stitch projects that I finished. Not finally finished objects, but that's okay. And I have 4 projects to carry into the new year, all of them that I started in 2018. So I'm happy about that. And one thing I noticed though when I was going through and putting all this together for my blog post for the end of the year, I really stayed in my comfort zone this year. Except for filming Flosstube videos and I suppose branching out and going up to Acorns and Threads in Portland as much as I could, I stayed in my comfort zone this year. And I didn't realize I was doing it. And now I'm wondering how it happened. So I'm going to work on harder things this year. Not so much with the cross stitch because I've got a few things that call for specialty stitches and I'm not sure if my eyes can handle linen anymore. But I can get my sewing machine fixed and work on some quilts, or I can do some more complicated knitting. There's other stuff I could be doing than just same old autopilot. So first, baby steps out of my comfort zone, which maybe don't count as baby steps. For Christmas a couple of years ago, I had told my husband that I might like to have an Instant Pot because it seemed like it would be a good fit for our house. The way that we wind up doing things, we don't always know if we'll be home for dinner or not, or if we'll grab a pizza at Costco. And with my oldest son going to be starting working soon, I may not know, between that and my husband's overtime, who's going to be home for dinner and how many people are going to be eating dinner. And being able to cook something in a hurry, especially being able to cook something frozen in a hurry, is looking really, really attractive. I also like the idea I could make cheesecake in it. So my husband, the first time I talked to him about it, he wasn't convinced that this was a thing that we needed. We have every doohickey in the kitchen you can imagine, but including a couple of regular traditional pressure cookers. And I don't know, he must have talked to someone. I know he did some research. I know we went to the store and talked to someone there about them. And for Christmas, of course he didn't get me an Instant Pot. He did lots of research and he got me this one, which is a Zavor Lux LCD 8-quart multi-cooker. And his research tells him that this is better than the Instant Pot. I don't know if that's true. I don't care if that's true. I just want to be able to make rice and beans and cook meat from frozen. So far, I have made rice in it, which came out phenomenally. I made beans in it last night from dry without soaking, which they came out just barely done. I should have brought it back up to pressure and cooked them a couple minutes longer, but I've never cooked beans from dry in the bag before, and I'm out of my comfort zone. I think that tonight we're going to try French dip sandwiches with pot roast from the pressure cooker, but it's not time to start cooking dinner yet. I don't know. So, step one out of my comfort zone, which I thought was out of my comfort zone, but I've been reading some of the groups on Facebook about these, and I'm nervous about a pressure cooker. I remember being a little kid and my mom and grandma canning something in the pressure cooker. I think this is the one time they did that. We were not allowed in the house while the pressure cooker was on the stove because it might explode and kill us all. I've taken the Master of Food Preservers course at the Extension office years and years ago. I have cooked with the old school pressure cookers with the rocker and the gauge, and they make me nervous, but they don't make me banish my children from the entire house and send them out to the far reaches of the yard in case they explode and kill us all. I've got a little more confidence than that. And from the research and talking to the lady at the shop, this seems like it's kind of baby-proof. It won't start building pressure. It won't let you cook if the seal's not right. If you let it sit for 10 minutes or so, the pressure automatically release, or natural release is what they call it. And I'm not as sciencey as my husband, so he had to explain to me that when it cools down, there's not steam anymore, and the steam's not actually going anywhere. But I did the quick release on my rice, and I twisted the little knob, and the steam went psss. But it wasn't scary, and it wasn't, I mean, yes, I probably needed the warning to keep my fingers away from it because I can burn myself on anything. And last night when I was cooking my beans and it was going up to pressure and it was making some funny little hissing noises, and I couldn't remember if it had done that with the rice or not, so it was making me a little nervous, but I'm going to master this thing. I'm going to figure out how to bake a cheesecake. Not wine, because I don't know. I can understand why you would want to make wine. I can't understand why you'd want to make it from grape juice in your Instant Pot, and I'm not sure that that's how that works anyway. So that is what I'm doing. I'm hopefully going to make it up to Acorns and Threads tomorrow, Thursday, but I don't know if I will or not. Like I've said, my house is unpredictable and I haven't got all my ducks in a row quite yet. I want to thank everyone who sent me Christmas cards. I didn't grow up in a family that sent Christmas cards, so that's not kind of been something that's on my radar. So thank you, Audrey. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Christine. I think that's it. Audrey, the boys were very impressed by your sealing wax and very confused by the tissue. And Heath says that he will come up to Acorns and Threads with me and tell you all of the things about all the spiders. I won't bring him, I promise. And I will not tell you about the spider, I promise, even though it is really cool, but I assume you don't want to hear it. So I even promise I will never mail you a spider. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I think I already said that. It's been a long morning. I'm ready to go start this uploading and make some lunch. And thank you to my son who is over there playing his Nintendo and not making noise while I film. I appreciate that. I will see you again soon.